Happy Tuesday, ladies and gents, degens, professionals, crypto friends and family around the world. What's going on, everybody? We are back. It's been another wild weekend. We've seen Bitcoin continue to crash down to under 75K, now rallying back up, looking like we're going to pump back into the 80s. Metals have been all over the place. Yesterday, we saw $10 trillion wiped out between the gold and silver market caps. Again, back up, pumping a little bit today. Hasn't recovered everything, but it's been, I mean, we went about volatility. $10 trillion in 24-hour period is an insane amount of volatility. We're going to take a look at all that, take a look at some charts here, see what we're going to see the rest of the month here. We've got some stories on new major acquisitions by Chainlink and others. We've got Trump's $500 million crypto scandal in UAE and the Epstein files. Of course, we got to talk about the Epstein files. There's all sorts of stuff going on with the Epstein files and the potential secret crypto war that's been going on. So welcome everybody who is tuning in as we're going here. If you have any charts you want us to look at, just drop a comment on YouTube, on X. We'll take a look at it here. And we can break down the chart for you. If you have a story, if you want to comment on any of the stories that we're going to be talking about, from Trump to gold and silver to Epstein, again, drop us a comment. Happy to get some audience participation going. Yeah, with that, I will shut my mouth and let Mr. Simple Jack, aka Andrew the Chart Man, take over and lead us through what's been going on in this while.
Mr. Bear is back.
Mr. Bear, I'm bullish as fuck right now. Well, I mean, it's pretty interesting to see equities like bounce back pretty strong already. So, like, you know, typically after these big giant sell-off or liquidation events, there's always like a dead cat bounce. This dead cat bounce might actually be setting up another uptrend, to be honest. You know, we look at all these like moving averages, pretty much all held, these 50 SMAs. And we're already starting to head back towards all-time highs now. And, you know, if we start breaking out of those highs, that's going to confirm a pretty larger W, double bottoms. And so for me, I think like the equity side of things look a lot more positive, especially like if you look at the Jan barometer for this year, we are expecting to see prices go all the way up until that seasonal May sell-off kind of window. It's also showing that like it's quite volatile in the sense that like you know, it's not just a straight up towards there. It's going to be a lot of going up, down, up, down, up, down. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing right now currently in the price action, where we're getting these wild swings up and then wild swings down. And you know, overall trend is still to the upside, but you know, these pullbacks can be pretty gnarly. So I am expecting to see a bit of volatility as we get closer and closer to that April-May window. But from here, I do believe we are supposed to go a little bit higher. So let's see how the seasonality chart kind of points out this year and how the markets kind of hold here. If we go through the metals charts, you know, we had that nasty sell-off. Yes, $10 trillion is a lot of money. But when you look at when you look at like gold and metals markets and like commodities, like $10 trillion isn't really that much. Like they're moving like hundreds. No, not hundreds, but they're moving a lot. Okay. And all we really did was we just kind of brought it back down into technical levels. Like we overextended, we hit objectives, and then, you know, people cash out, people take profits. And then all it really did was just bring it right back down into a technical level. So if you're hunting reload zones, if you're hunting these RLZs, right? RLZs, 61.8 to 70.6, you could have gotten such an easy, you know, entry there. And, you know, we knew the targets essentially was going to top out around right here, essentially. And that's kind of what happened. We came into that chaos level, pretty much got rejected, and then pretty much bounced off a reload zone. I don't know if this is the bottom yet. You know, generally I like to see consolidations, just like, you know, back here. You know, this nice little W, right? They make it very easy for you to enter these trades. So right now, this is just kind of a knife catching type setup. Really got to be like sharp with your kind of like stops and stuff. But if you're able to sneak in there, you could have got some nice little swing there. But until we start carving some kind of W or structure, I probably wouldn't want to touch this market at the moment. So metals, I think, still needs a bit of like cleaning up to do, but you can see it is already trying to start to recover. Steel still making higher highs there.
I think,
Crypto,
sorry, I think if you look at palladium in long term, like they had a similar dump, no?
yeah, right here. It's all the same. All of these charts are the same. So palladium, platinum are the same. Silver and gold is the same. Copper is kind of similar as well. But like all these metals generally move together, right? So
Yeah, but if you look at the palladium, like you see clearly two very big dumps compared to other charts.
yeah, and each time it's just going to come right into its little reload zone, right? Look at that reload zone, and then another reload zone. So you can just keep hitting these reload zones if you really wanted to. I personally want to see like structure within the reload zone just to give it a little bit of a safer kind of entry point. But again, if you're just like a levels type trader, you could try to hit those levels, and you can also go in that like lower time frame, right? And then you can probably see it's still pretty hard. It's like these V bottoms. And V bottoms like to be retested, right? We had a V bottom here. Eventually, it has to come back, retest that V bottom. So just like how we V bottomed here, eventually prices are going to have to come back and probably have to retest that. So yeah, I think metals, we just have to kind of wait, let the things consolidate, and then probably gear up for another run up higher, maybe. If equity starts running up higher here, then I'm sure the metals will probably catch up as well eventually. So yeah. And then if we look at the dollar, dollar did perk up. Everything is kind of all the risk on assets kind of take a hit. Then you got the US dollar kind of pumping. We are at 38.2 first stop. So if this is a dead cat bounce, this is where we should start to see some resistance and some pause. VIX is still pretty low as well, so I'm not worried about a market crash in the stock market. Once VIX starts breaking above like that 20 level, that's when you start to get a little bit concerned. But for now, it's pretty flat. So I think we're still going to go higher on equities there. I don't know about metals or crypto, but when I look at crypto, we were buying a lot of these W's here. We unfortunately got rammed out. And, once you lose that blow and that structure, for me, I like to just hop off. I thought we actually pretty much did break those lows here. If you actually look at the lows here of this candle, it is actually lower than these lows here. But until we start getting like candle body closes below, I don't think it's quite there yet. But I do feel like we are, trying to break out of there. Ideally, I would like to get a little bit lower around that 65K area. 65K is where that last previous double bottom structures were. 78.6 is kind of like where I like to hit. And then, if we can't hold those, then, we have to go much lower and lower and lower. The ultimate kind of levels are around, what is that, 50, 57 to 39, which, people are going to say I'm crazy. But, if we are in an 18-month bear market, things are just going to go like this, and then just, slowly make its way down over the 18 months. But who knows? Maybe we start bottoming out here. We are technically in a reload zone now from this range. Okay. So this is where you should start to see some kind of bullish activity, or at least some people step up, right? Just like how in this reload zone, we tried to break out. So I do think we probably have to come back a little bit lower and then start carving out structure. If we can't get any of like bullish structure there, then probably have to just like wait. I'm not really chasing anything here. I don't think there's anything to really do. There's no like bullish divergences or anything. We are a little bit oversold on the RSI, not quite yet on the Willy, but momentum is starting to shift there, at least on the oversold side of things. Would like to see a bullish divergence. I think that would be a good signal that trend is shifting. But as of right now, we are still in this downtrend, and until we start getting those structures, I don't think we're quite out of the weeds yet. ETH is the same thing. ETH is actually at that 78.6 level that I like hunting. It is right against those lows right here that it is trying to break below. I personally am not too comfortable trying to buy there. I think this one might even try to go a little bit lower around that 88.6 level down here, around that 1800. But again, we are in the reload zone now. So if we do start carving out double bottoms, then I am going to be tempted to start hunting trades here again. And then as we get these bullish divergences flipped on the MACD, oversold conditions hit on the Willy, then that'll present us with the setup. So for now, it's just kind of like sit on your hands, do nothing, not much to do. We could do a reload zone just a little bit lower here, probably, and then that is a little bit lower entries. But yeah, I mean, for now,
I'm surprised to meet again. Like, how low can we go? Like, actually, I was surprised. I looked at last March. I didn't even remember, but we were at 1,600, 1,500 levels.
Yeah, well, you got to understand, like most of the time, like Bitcoin especially, it almost always taps the previous cycle's all-time highs. So what was the previous cycle all-time high? 65K.
69K.
Okay, 69K. 69, 420. Yes, 69, 420. So it's gotta tag it eventually, right? If we're following this 4-year cycle idea, like Bitcoin always retraces about 70 to 80% from all-time highs, and then it actually like officially bottoms. I don't see why it'd be different why would it be different this time? I think if anything, it's gonna be the same thing over and over again. And so yeah, like that 60 to 50K area is kind of like where like a lot of us are targeting. And it's like the same thing. It's like we're just repeating the same cycle over and over and over. Nothing's different. Nothing ever really changes. It's just a matter of like, all right, can you be patient enough for that perfect kind of entry, or do we just keep dollar costing averaging here and then grind lower and lower and lower? Every player does it differently. I'm actually like pretty much 100% in cash now. I have no alts.
Wow.
No crypto positions. I am still in equities because a lot of my positions are up and they didn't really fall that much. Metals, same thing. I'm still in a lot of my positions. But crypto-wise, like I think the market's toast, and I don't want to bother with it until 2027, 2028, when we're getting ready to get into that halving cycle. Because right now it's just like you're playing roulette. It's like, all right, this one's gonna pump, and then it's gonna dump all the way back down to this low the next day. There's no reason to like hold any of these altcoins, for me. So it's just
yeah, but I don't know. Like I'm against that thesis. Like I see some of these like legacy coins, how much they have in their treasury, and how much like money they're making outside of like their just trading revenue. I do think there's some good plays here. I do think that everything is just not fluff. And
Hype is the only one.
Well,
Hype is probably the only altcoin that I would say is like, all right, but like clearly the trade's already done. Like you can't chase that. Buying that is like buying something up here. You're gonna get burnt. So like
yeah, but with hype, obviously, like volatility is the best friend of them. And
yeah, but they're also getting into prediction markets. They're also got a lot of apps building on their EVM. Like, they actually have like legit utility, right? And that's why people like it, and that's why people are betting on hype right now. Trying to pump the price. They're also hella rich. They have a huge treasury. They're constantly doing buybacks.
They're at like a ratio of $100 million over $100 million in revenue per employee.
Yeah, and like they have no VC backing. It's like,
oh, that's not true.
It's very, very legit.
Anymore.
Oh yeah. But like, compared to like something like Lighter or like Aster, right? But like, yeah, I don't know. It's I wouldn't want to buy it up here. I mean, if I was trying to buy, like I said, you gotta hunt these reload zones. Once you hunt these reload zones, you can try to like find some shit there. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, like alts, just not really interested in it. I'm probably just focused on Bitcoin and ETH here. But you can see on the index, we are trying to carve out some kind of bottom. If you look at the red line, this is pretty much everything minus the top 10 dominance. So I consider that like my small cap kind of indicator. So yeah, I mean, you can see double bottoms are up on those compared to like these ones that have like, the top 10 kind of stuff included. There probably are opportunities out there. If you were in Molt, for example, I know a lot of people made like over 100x on that over the weekend. It's just, you just gotta like kind of like, pick your battles here. So I like to go slow and steady. I like to be consistent. I'm not much for going too wild on these trades, but yeah. But even Molt, Molt's trying to put in a bottom here. It looks like, it's trying to bottom from this massive run. Double bottom, reload zone, yada yada. Same shit. Rinse and repeat.
You kind of ran through a couple things earlier. I wanted to slow down and didn't have a chance to hop in here.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's good. So on this dead cat bounce or this relief rally, whatever for Bitcoin, what are your levels right now that you're watching where you think it's likely to turn around?
For which one?
For Bitcoin.
Okay, for Bitcoin. So dead cat bounces generally, we usually come back to like 38.2s. But this is like if I'm looking at a range from this high to this low.
Right.
Realistically, it's probably just going to be from this peak at first to this bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're looking at this, we got to do there we go. So my expectation is like, okay, dead cat bounces are always 38.2s. So we first have to come up and test this level, which is around 83K. If we can't break above that, then, that's just kind of like your classic dead cat bounce, pretty much off of this range. If we can't break above, then you got the reload zones here, which you got to worry about. So this is kind of like where that last previous top was. So then you got to kind of consider that. But really, we really have to try to break out of this 97K level, get back above there, and then we're going to be battling kind of like more of this like higher level stuff. But you can see like right now too, even the 38.2 level, it's like right against that double top structure there. So I do expect a lot of resistance like in this area, this 90K. So 90 to 95K area is kind of going to be like where a lot of that resistance is going to be. But in the meantime, probably that 83K first is what I'm thinking, because that is that 38.2 off of this range. And so, yeah.
Okay. That was good levels. So, yeah, 83,600. If you can get through that, then probably 90 to 95 is next stop for a bounce here.
Yeah, at least back to 90K, I think it's reasonable. But,
yeah,
I mean, if there's any, like, fundamental event or Trump says something crazy or some weird tariff stuff happens, that kind of gets thrown out the window, right?
Yeah. I think a lot of people are praying also for like trying to find these levels, like where they can hit the eject button off this rebound.
Yeah. And ETH is similar, I guess. Like, you can do these 38.2s on ETH as well. And then, ETH is looking like probably that 2,600 area. And these chart, every chart is a little bit different depending on your exchange. But like, if you just draw your fibs off like the recent high, recent low, and you can kind of see where those levels are going to line up. So that's where I'm thinking for ETH right there.
Nice. Okay. Solid. My next question was going to be around the Jan barometer. So you made a great post on LinkedIn about that. I want to see if we could take a look on that and kind of talk. I know you kind of briefly looked at it there, but kind of look at how it's lining up with the first quarter of this year, especially, and kind of with the other thing we talked about on Thursday last week was the second half of the year when we're expecting major rate cuts to start, major quantitative easing to start, and getting into the real election season there. Seeing how does that line up with the Jan barometer?
Yeah, so as we come into that summer, we are expecting a bit of a sell.
So we're kind of at the bottom of that first dip. Okay,
we're right here. We're right here. So we had that dip. We're actually kind of back up right now, and we are expecting to go higher and higher, at least up until like April, May-ish. These aren't perfect, right? Like these are just kind of like, these are fun metrics to use to just kind of give you a general sense of what to expect, hopefully. But like it might not play out the way you expect either. And so technically we should see a bit of a rally. I think, if you look at equities, we are already trying to break out, right? You can see we had the dump. We're already trying to get back to those all-time highs. And so I do think there's going to be a lot of volatility back and forth. Just like how you can see it's like up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. A lot of kind of volatility as we head higher. But I think realistically, it's like we're going to get that strong sell-off coming into summer because that's seasonally, that's the trade. Secondly, I think a lot of this like markets rallying right now is just like they're front running kind of like what they expect for the second half of the year, right? Because the reason why people trade is like they're trading against the future value of what they think it's going to be. And so right now, I think we're going to rally into summer, we're going to sell into summer, and then in that fall, like September, October, as we get into that election year, markets will come back to life just because Trump is also not going to let the market look like shit. And if the market tanks and like horrendously falls and like he brings the market up back like even just like 20%, he's going to claim that as a big win. He's going to claim that as like he saved the market, blah, blah, blah. So I do feel like that's kind of like what we are kind of, going towards. And I think second half of the year, probably in that fall season is probably going to be our best buying opportunities. Every year, that's how I play my equities is I always buy in the fall and I always make money going into spring. So it's the exact same chart. It's like, all right, we buy, we sell into the, New Year's, spring area, and then you rinse and repeat. You come back in the fall and just do the same shit. So
there you go. Nice. Love it. Some hopium out there yet, boys.
Yes.
Get your bags in a good place between now and the spring. Sell in May, go away, come back.
Yes, sell in May, walk away.
I think always when the sentiment is this negative, it's the best time to buy, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I'm
right now.
Yeah, I will DCA now. I don't think it's a bad idea. I do think we will see a little bit go bottom, but in the long term, I think these prices are very good, especially on BTC.
Well, for me, I like to follow setups, and that's it. That's how I trade. I follow setups. I have a trading strategy. Everybody trades differently. Everybody has their own strategies. But if you're just blindly buying shit, I do not recommend that. These guys are seasoned vets. They know what they're doing. So just make sure you guys have a trading plan. Make sure you guys understand your risk management. And remember, none of this is financial advice. So
that's right. Big shout out to, we got, looks like just shy of 1,800 people tuned in so far today. Shout out Mr. Amram for reposting the stream. Appreciate you tuning in here. Before we hop into some news, if you are watching right now, if you have a chart you want us to cover, if you got a chart you want us to take a look at right now, go ahead and drop a comment on X and we will pull that up here and take a quick look at that for you. But overall, great analysis, man. Really good coverage of, all the major markets here from equities, the stonks to Grandpa Bitcoin, the dollar, some alts, even some memeage coming in here. The Moltbot's an interesting one, obviously all over CT, major news with that going both ways. People getting freaked out about what the bots are doing. And then it turns out it was just humans in the background telling it to do shit.
It was another Indian farm.
Yeah, more or less. People coming in just saying, yeah. But anyways, we'll keep an eye out. If you have any charts, go ahead and drop them in. In the meantime, we're gonna move on and take a look at some M&A news coming up since last week. M&A market has been absolutely red hot all of last year. This year is gonna be no exception. It's gonna continue to be in the news left and right. And we're seeing more and more TradFi coming in, even some unexpected TradFi people stepping into the Web3 M&A markets here. We've got Bed Bath & Beyond. If anybody had that on their bingo card or your Polymarket bet for, I think the Polymarket bet's the new bingo card for our modern parlance. But I don't know if anybody had Bed Bath & Beyond Polymarket odds for picking up a Web3 project. So Bed Bath & Beyond picking up a token.com and an RWA tokenization bet. Their shares jumped 5% after the company agreed to acquire tokens.com. Everybody, we've been, everybody, every single foundation, every single fund institution, RWA, tokenization, stablecoins on the lips of their corp dev teams, their CEOs. It's all over the media. So no surprise they're making an RWA play here. Just surprising that it's Bed Bath & Beyond.
It seems so odd to me. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's like Tractor Supply Company acquires Aave. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's pretty alarming.
But hey, it gives more credence to the statements that everybody's saying. Everything is going to be tokenized. Everybody, every business is going to be getting on blockchain. This is a great example of that.
So
I think I never heard of tokens.com. Just saying. I don't know, interesting move, but I do understand, but Beyond's tactic here.
If nothing else, it's a great URL, right?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, that's true. Tokens.com, that's a pretty good name.
Yeah. Hard to go wrong with that. More crypto native, I guess, what to be expected type acquisitions happening. Chainlink, this was just a few days ago, I believe within the since our last live stream on Thursday last week. Chainlink announcing the acquisition of Atlas by Fastlane. Chainlink continuing to innovate, being one of the original legitimate businesses in crypto, a revenue positive business, and finding ways to not only help their clients and their clientele and their customers, their users, save money and make money, but also finding that having that revenue stream also flow back into the Chainlink treasury as well. Essentially, what they're doing here by integrating their tech, Chainlink, into the Chainlink platform, protocols can now recapture some of the Oracle extractable value, the OEV, which was previously just considered a cost of doing business. They have the price feeds. When price feeds get extremely volatile, they can be liquidated, and there is an auction. I don't fully understand. It's a complicated process, but essentially, previously you had all kinds of bots coming in trying to bid and steal this liquidation bonus, whereas now with this new tech they're integrating with Atlas, the actual platform like Aave that is going to be affected by this is now able to front run that bid, get the liquidation auction themselves, and recoup some of that cost via Chainlink's new smart value recapture, which the Atlas's tech is building in and helping make more efficient. Some really, really high level DeFi shit above my head when it comes to some of the DeFi money making schemes that are out there. But anyways, Chainlink continuing to adapt and improve their systems. And this is a great example of an acquisition where projects are incorporating new tech purely to add new revenue streams, as well. I mean, this is an interesting one because it's kind of twofold. The SVR tech is feeding back, I think it said in the article, like 45 or 50% of that money that's made from these liquidation auctions back directly to Chainlink, but it also is making the process more streamlined for their clients, saving them money on the liquidations and giving them an option to actually earn revenues back via capturing those auctions themselves. So it's a win-win-win all across the board. Chainlink clients are happier and Chainlink is making more money off of it. So very interesting, I guess, vertical acquisition to feed revenue back into Chainlink, as well as, continue to bring on new clients and keep their clients happier. So yeah, smart acquisition. I don't know if Jan, if you had any other thoughts on that one, or if you heard about this.
This is a trend that we've been seeing also. Like internally, we're getting a lot of big requests from old school crypto players wanting to integrate into more different, like expanding their customer base and so forth. And I do think like institutional plays are getting more and more norm. So
yeah. And I think it's a brilliant acquisition. It's expanding on their existing business lines, letting them recapture lost value that was being missed in their current transaction pipeline, as well as a lot of times we see an acquisition like this, it's just the foundation or just the company itself that's benefiting from it. But they found a way here not only to recapture lost revenue from existing transactions, but they're doing it while benefiting their existing customers. So I think that's fantastic. A lot of these are kind of these type of deals are not a net negative, but the client itself is not benefiting. It's just the foundation. But win-win situation here for both. So props to everybody involved there. Another big one within the crypto ecosystem, Nanar is acquiring Farcaster. Farcaster, one of the only SocialFi projects that's seen any sort of success. And I don't know that Farcaster's actually seeing what you would call success. They're certainly not a revenue positive company. They're not blowing any records when it comes to user metrics. They have been able to fundraise a lot of money though. I think, I can't remember what is it. They raised
120 million.
120 million.
120 million, yeah. And they were sitting on that pile during like a long time during bear market.
Oh yeah. That was back in, I think, 2022 when they raised that capital. So managed to stick around and stay alive. SocialFi, obviously a perennial, except for this cycle, hasn't popped its head up yet. I guess it kind of did for a little while early in the cycle, but SocialFi is one of those that they keep trying it and it just keeps not working. But Farcaster funded well enough to be able to survive here. Now being acquired by Nanar. We'll see if they're actually going to be able to make this work. Obviously, they've got a plan. They're not going to go out there and spend hundreds of millions of dollars acquiring Farcaster if they don't have a plan for how they're going to leverage it. Whether or not it's going to be successful, we will see. But another massive acquisition in the space, and we are just in. This is all within the first month of the year here. So, crypto M&A off to a blazing start right now.
Yeah, just go and grow.
Yeah, we're seeing more and more projects that are reaching out to us, projects that we're connecting with on the buy side, projects with buy side mandates in the tunes of $500 million and more, looking to acquire both vertically and horizontally within the Web3 space. We've got family offices and large funds, both Web 2 and Web 3, coming to us looking for different types of acquisitions. TradFi guys and P&E investment banks, things of that nature are getting into Web 3 mergers and acquisitions. We're seeing funds announced like Resolve.ai. They just bought, who did they buy? They bought a crypto company back, I think it was October last year. And then right off the back of that, they went out and raised $250 million more dollars, specifically earmarked for additional acquisitions this year. So more and more and more of that is going to continue to trend as the year goes on here, regardless of what Bitcoin does. If the market's down, that just makes it more of a buyer's market. The big capitalized funds, the big infrastructure players that are revenue positive, are well capitalized, have strong backing from their investors. They love it if the market's down. That just means they're going to be able to get more projects at a discount, and continue building towards their long-term goals. All right. That's about it on the M&A front here for this week. On the breaking news front, we'll get into what all you came here for, the Epstein files.
I've been waiting all week, bro.
It seems it is as bad, if not worse, than everybody predicted. All of your wildest conspiracy theories of the last 10 years are coming true. And it's even affecting, or at least has deep implications into Web3. A lot of big names out there, Jason being implicated in there in various ways. A lot of big mainstream investors, no surprise, in both Web2 and Web3 being named in there for various reasons, now all defending themselves. This was prior to 2008. We were just talking about investments. We never talked about pizza and hot dogs. Whatever their excuses may be.
No grape soda and no pizzas? What?
No grape soda, no walnuts, no hot dogs, no pizzas. So remains to be seen how many of these people are going to be caught up in this. Will any prosecutions be brought forward? The big one involving crypto, I think the two biggest stories are Epstein's involvement, or I guess investment in Coinbase, and the secret crypto war that has been propagated. Is this still ongoing? I don't know, but it does make a lot of sense. Looking back over the last couple of years, some of the targets from the SEC, mainly XRP, getting named multiple times as a competitor to Bitcoin, and the Bitcoin as a technology, as an investment opportunity, as a speculative asset. They were seeing Ripple and what was the other big one mentioned multiple times as competitors that they wanted to try to squash, to try and push out of the market so money can continue to flow into into Bitcoin. The biggest one being named there is XRP. XRP, also one of the most famous SEC cases, has been drug out to the tune of tens of millions of dollars in litigation fees over 2 or 3 years, finally coming to some sort of settlement over the last 18 months here. If it turns out that this is true, what does that say about the SEC? What does that say about the state of regulatory bodies in the United States in general, especially when it comes to digital assets? How compromised are they? Can we trust them to be fair and impartial? Obviously, we know that's no. But this is some very damning evidence against this. That being said, none of us here are XRP fanboys. We're not just coming out, talking about this because we're, we're pitching XRP to $10,000. We're not retarded. But this is, a great example of some of the corruption that has been going on over the last decades that directly involves our industry here.
Oh man, so dark. There's a lot of dark stuff reading on this stuff.
A lot of very dark stuff.
Shout out to Alex Jones, bro. He was onto it.
Alex Jones was right. Jar is packed full of dollars right now.
Oh man.
When's his next trip on Joe Rogan? It's got to be coming up here soon. I got to imagine, he's got to have him booked here just to bring him back on and be like, all right, Epstein files are out. You were right about everything, Alex. Let's talk about it.
Oh God.
The other big story making it in the Epstein files was the $3 million investment in Coinbase that Epstein made. A lot of people potentially involved in this decision to make this investment. A lot of names were thrown out there. I don't want to throw out any names here because, again, all this is still coming out. I don't know specifically, but if you want to go just do a quick search of who Epstein met on the investment side that are now billionaires and very famous in our industry, talking about Bitcoin, talking about the investment into Coinbase and some of the other, he had a big meetup in the Caymans for a bunch of digital asset and, futuristic investment type stuff that there's a lot of very prominent Web 2, Web 3 investors attending for the weekend, which I'm sure there was no shenanigans going on there. But anyways, this is all breaking. It's obviously trying to be swept under the rug. Hopefully some people will be brought to justice. Hopefully people can learn a little bit from this. Anyways, wild stuff out there, guys. I don't know if we have any viewers with some thoughts or comments on any of the Epstein stuff going on, especially as it regards to crypto, but drop your comments and we'll be happy to see and toss them on screen here. Outside of that, I think probably the biggest breaking story over the weekend or the last couple of days, not even the weekend, this was less than 24 or 36 hours ago, $10 trillion. That's a lot of fucking money. $10 trillion between the market cap of gold and silver erased. Obviously, it's bounced back a little bit in the last 24, 18 hours, whatever it is here. But that's a wild ass candle to see on an asset like gold or silver. This is like meme coin level pump and dump type stuff here over the last couple of weeks.
This was 12% of the whole GDP of the whole world.
Yeah,
the whole gold and silver falling so much, 12%.
Yeah, and the stories of the lack of actual physical capitalization of these investments. The main silver, one of the main, I can't even think of the name. One of the main silver repositories had requests for, I think it was $1.5 billion worth of physical silver, and their last audit showed them having $114 million worth of physical silver. So the reserve limits on what these gold and silver brokers are selling are very much like the U.S. Banks. They're able to lend out money to the tunes of 100x what they have in stores. A pretty wild stuff out there. So I would expect continued volatility on these assets as we move forward. I don't think we've seen the end of it, but yeah, wild day here. That's one for the record books. $10 trillion wiped out on silver and gold, and this is literally hours. Insane.
Yeah, that was definitely a big liquidation one day for sure.
Another guy who is feeling the pain right now, not necessarily liquidation, but paper losses at the moment. In fact, the 5th largest ever documented, old Tom Lee here, taking a, what is it at now? $6.6 billion kick in the shorts as of now. Down, unrealized losses reaching approaching 70%. Yikes. That's
come
rough.
on, this is long term. It's unrealized. Until
Yeah,
he sells, there's no losses.
That's true. That's a very good point. Until he sells, you're still there.
Being how long can they hold off?
He's still staking them.
Yes.
Hey,
Yeah, but like at this size, like he's like, come on.
But come on, guys. Like, if there's $12 trillion that just were wiped out from gold, I think like having a $9 billion hole is nothing. Like, there are some people that have billions of dollars and institutions, especially. Like, come on. Like,
I think Tom Lee's thanking his lucky stars that the Epstein list got released and there was a $10 trillion wipe in gold and silver. So everybody's paying attention to that instead of him. If this was a normal news week, he'd be the #1 talk of CT right now. And this is the only story. The Kobayashi letter is the only people I saw publishing this story right now. That just tells you how much wild shit is going on in the markets and in the world in general at the moment. That the 5th largest documented principal for a guy who's like on every media news outlet every single week, like a very, very enigmatic personality in Tom Lee, who's been talking mad shit the last 6 months, getting just absolutely kicked in the shorts, and it's not a mainline news story. That shows you how much shit is going on right now in our world.
Isn't there a bet in Polymarket about Tom Lee going away from US?
Wait, what? Really?
Oh yeah, is he gonna leave? Is Tom Lee gonna leave the US? Yeah.
Yeah, what? Tom Lee is gonna be charged by December 31.
What?
Yeah, it's like, is he gonna be charged? Is he gonna flee? Yeah. Where's the one about him fleeing? There was one about him fleeing the US. Maybe it closed already. But yeah, is he gonna be charged? Was one.
Dude, what is it with like fat Asian dude with glasses always like running away with money? remember $1 Billion Whale? You guys remember that guy, William Huang or whatever?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it's a massively crazy news market when Tom Lee being down almost $7 billion on a $15 billion bet is not even mainline news.
Well, if he can hold for the next 3 years, he could be fine.
He's going to be
come back to life, but he just has to survive for the next 3-4 years. That's it. That's all he's got to do. Just survive somehow. Actually, more like 2 years, because really it's 2027 into 2028. So that's kind of like what we're looking for right now. So,
yeah, the ETF inflow is not helping him out. We saw net. What is it? So far, I mean, February 2nd alone, 2.9 billion in a day.
No, it's million.
Or sorry, million. Yeah.
I mean, these numbers are not bad, man. Like 200, 150 million. Like that is not a lot.
That's pennies. That's chump change. Like you said, we just lost $12 trillion in metals. It's nothing.
That's not even, if you combine all of that, like go back to it and you combine all of it, that's not even $1 billion.
Yeah, not quite. Yeah. Close.
So yeah, I think Tom Lee is fine. He just have to hold. I mean, Saylor was also down now. His average price is what, 77 or 76,
something like that.
That's not too bad. He's not too off right now.
Yeah, but
he's also said
15 billion. He was up 15 billion. So
yeah, he's also said like. And people talking about if he's going to get liquidated, and he's like, I can hold. He's like, I don't care if Bitcoin goes to $1. We'll just buy all the supply.
That's the kind of like, I don't know. It's just so retarded. Like,
that's how you win.
Don't listen to these people. Don't follow these type of lunatics. Like, no.
That's how you win. Hodl to the grave, baby.
My
I agree.
God.
Bitcoin ETFs looking a little more beat up. A couple almost $1 billion days in here on the ETFs. What else we got? Wrapping up kind of the news portion here. Fed decision in March, no real change since last week. Still 90% of people saying no change, 8% for 25 basis point decrease, which I'm still tempted to hop on that one. Yeah, 12.5x on your bid right there. Not bad at all. But yeah, some fun potential parlays there. How about the economic calendars? The start of the month here. Sorry, yeah, it's our first live stream for February. What do we got going on the rest of the month here? Got job openings from December. We got CPI in Europe, non-farm payroll. Nothing crazy big the rest of the month. Initial jobless claims, CPI, GDP later this month. So definitely some important stuff here. We'll probably towards second half of the month here might have some incoming volatility based on some economic numbers, but no FOMC meeting in February, no rate cut decision. But yeah, I'd keep an eye on if you're going to be hopping in some polymarket bets. I'd be keeping an eye on these events here, second half of the month in February. That's probably where we'll start to see things shift one way or another. Well, they're already shifted one way, but if they shift back or if they go all in on the no for March, this will probably help solidify people's stances on that. But other than that, we have a few like little random news stories, but nothing too important. A lot of people eyeing this level for Bitcoin for buying. We talked about Sailor buying more. CZ has come out for Binance saying they're going to go buy $1 billion worth of Bitcoin from their Seifu funds. So big guys still buying. I think I saw a stat recently. It was yesterday. It said the only people currently buying more Bitcoin are the wallets with more than 10,000 Bitcoin in them. So the OG whales out there gobbling up all you paper hands.
Exactly. The OG whales.
Out there gobbling up all the paper hands.
Look at that face. Look at this trader face.
You guys are mad because Jeffrey Epstein is Satoshi. Don't you guys are supporting a child predator. Good job, guys. Good job, everybody. Good job. How do you feel about that,
huh? I know the real Satoshi. He's definitely not Epstein.
R.I.P. Hal Finney.
That would be insane.
Well, thank you to everybody that tuned in today. Record-breaking numbers, hit almost 3,200 people live on our stream here. Really appreciate everybody. The likes, the subscribes, the shares, the retweets, the comments. We'll be back on Thursday. More market updates, more M&A news, some potentially OTC secondary type in opportunities to cover. And of course, take another look at the charts. Hopefully, a little bit of a chill in volatility and maybe a continuation of this dead cat bounce. Give everybody a little bit of a breather and some relief here. But we'll be back to talk about that and more on Thursday. We hope you'll join us. Till then, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Stay safe out there.
Thank you, guys. See you next week.